Hi, Cloud Chasers. How are you guys doing today? It's your girl Mousy, and I am the ultimate SL Cloud Chaser. So, you guys have asked, and I've delivered. I have here with me Carrie Tatsu, the creator of Zooby Baby. We are in for a treat. Not only is she going to mentor you SL wannabe entrepreneurs, she's going to tell us about her Animesh babies. But the first thing we're going to get into, there's going to be no prep. We're just going to dive right into her new product that she's created for Zooby. So, hi, Carrie. How are you doing today?
Hey, I'm really good. Really good. Self-isolating.
Self
So
isolating
yeah.
for sure. So, I guess you and your family are safe and everything's going well.
Yes, and we have two new kittens. So, yeah, it's nice to self-isolate with kittens in the house.
Yeah, kittens are so cute. Are they antisocial or they developing their personalities? What's going on with
Oh,
them?
they're so cute. One is really mischievous and actually like goes inside my bed and then doesn't know how to get out. And the other one is a little bit more afraid, but they're great. The kids like them. They're really wonderful, and they hang out with me while I work, and so it's nice to have company. You know, when it's nice to have cats when you're by yourself or just with children.
Yeah,
So.
I totally agree. I had a cat for like 12 years and I raised her from a kitten to an adult. And unfortunately, she ended up getting sick and passed away, but that was one of the best companions that I ever had. So I am so happy for you in this journey with your the new additions to your family. So usually I give a warm up and I'm like, how did you get into SL? And I ask all these various questions, but I'm gonna do that, but not now because I'm totally excited. I'm really stoked about this new product that you have out, and it's a pregnancy body that animates and grows with you through your pregnancy. Tell us about this.
Sure. So it's not out, and it's probably going to be several months until it's launched, because it's so what my job really is we build experiences in Second Life. So what that means is that what we want people to do is experience something that they may not necessarily be able to experience in real life, or maybe they have something in real life and they want to experience it again in a virtual life. And so what the goal was is, well, we know that people really enjoy having these little babies. But then we thought, well, wouldn't it be pretty amazing if someone could actually get pregnant, watch the fetus grow into a baby, deliver the baby, and then they have a newborn? And so the question was, well, how do you do that? Are people doing that in Second Life? And how does that happen? And so when I look at current bodies out there, how it usually works is that you have a body and then you have to use something called a slider, which modifies your stomach to look like it's larger or smaller. And also, what people do is they sell these attachments, which doesn't to me seem like a seamless experience. And so I thought, well, how do we make a seamless experience? And you have to start with the avatar itself, and you have to basically build the avatar so the bones in the avatar can push a belly outward. And so that's essentially what we did. We built an avatar from scratch, like some of these other, there's other avatars out there, that bodies out there, but we arranged the bones so that the belly can animate on its own without the user having to manually adjust it. And the reason for that is that they can wear, once clothing is launched or somebody wants to make clothing for this body, they can make a dress, and that dress will grow with the belly as the person's belly grows. And so they don't have to buy a separate dress for a particular stage of their pregnancy. And that's never been done in Second Life. And it's never actually been done in any kind of virtual world. And also, like a lot of video games, this has never been done. Like, you don't see or simulate an experience of actually being pregnant. So it's not just Second Life, but it's, well, can I experience this in any game? Like, how can I experience being female or having a baby or being pregnant? And so this is gives us an opportunity to actually do that. So long-winded answer. I'm not sure what I left
Oh
out.
no,
So
wow. Okay, so mind blown, guys. This is a major plot twist in the Avatar creation. and what we know of it today. So can you show us, what does this look like? So what does this body look like in the first trimester, second trimester, third trimester, and how long would you be pregnant for? Is it a set time? Can you adjust it? And I just have to see this, Carrie. Please show it to us now.
Sure. So, well, one thing is that if you, first of all, you don't have to see the fetus growing. All that is it's called a system layer that you can add on, which makes your belly transparent. So I'll show you that later. But all I'm going to do is I'm going to play 9 specific animations. And so when you actually get the body, it will come with a HUD, and the HUD will give you an option to have a baby in 9 days, 9 weeks, or 9 months. So that, again, sort of simulates a real life experience. So I'm not manually adjusting my body. I'm not going into edit mode. All I'm going to show you is I'm literally playing an animation. So let's hopefully this works. So let's play. This is, I already had month 1 I was actually wearing. So this is month 2. I'm not sure if, I may have to reset my body. So we may have to like cut the audio, and give me 1 second. Hold on a second. Oh yeah, because it's like loading. Hold on a second.
No problem. We can just talk through the load period as well. So
yeah,
with all that, okay, I'll let you reset your skeletal animation. So
yeah,
once you've
because I was idle for a long time.
Once you've reset and you set your time, say for 9 days, then your body just automatically grows. You don't need to do anything else.
Oh, exactly. You do not need to do anything. You basically get to watch your body grow, your belly grow over time. You do not have to no, I mean, the only thing, if you want to, you can modify your shape. So you can modify the size of your shoulders or your hands or your legs like you can with any slider, but you do not have to mess with your belly. That is an independent thing that happens by itself on its own. All you do is decide if it's going to be 9 days, 9 weeks, or 9 months. And in addition to the belly growing, you actually can see the fetus inside of it grow as well, from just something, that doesn't really look human into something that looks like a full-grown baby inside of you. So, oh yeah, there we go. That's growth. That's month 3, and
I can see
so
from the side, like you're growing slightly
yeah,
and you're losing your waistline.
that's
Oh no,
4. Okay,
my waistline.
so that's 5. Okay, so let's add this. So this is 6. Okay, here's 7.
Wow.
Okay, here's 8. Okay, that kind of jumps a little bit bigger. And in real life, that kind of happens once you get into like the third trimester, your belly kind of really expands. So there's 9. So again, it's going to be very, very seamless to the user. They will not have to, all I'm doing is I'm playing an animation. I am not modifying my belly by myself. I'm not doing anything. I'm simply playing an animation, just like you'd play an animation to walk. That's all I'm doing. So, yep, let me go back.
Oh. Can you make can you make your belly transparent so we can see the fetus and we get an idea of what you're talking about? I know that this is not absolutely necessary, but if someone were curious and wanted to see the fetal development, they can at any point or any stage, correct?
Yeah. So right now, if you look at my body, my belly is not transparent. And so that's up to the customer or the user actually of the body. They can at any point, at any stage of development, make their belly transparent by wearing a system layer. And it's as easy as wearing an item of clothing. So all I'm going to do right now is I'm going to add a system layer from my inventory, and it's basically just putting it on my body. My body may be gray for a moment because whenever you add, it's a texture layer. So whenever you add a texture layer, your body may turn gray for a moment. So I'm not sure when you can see the full skin with the transparent belly, but you should be able to soon. Can you see it on your end? I'm not sure.
I definitely see your skin. I saw you turn gray. So this is baked on mesh compatible. Basically, that's what you're saying.
Yeah, the entire thing from the beginning was built with bakes on mesh. So, and the reason for that is it's a much better, more efficient way to make avatars and layering on different texture layers. So what it allowed me to do is I have a skin, and on top of that, I have another system layer, which is essentially called an alpha layer, which is a transparent layer, which basically puts just the front of my belly slightly transparent so you can watch and see this fetus grow. And so without bakes on mesh, the user would not be able to have the option to turn this on or off. But because of bakes on mesh, all they have to do is add a system layer, wear the system layer, and then remove the system layer at any time. So for example, if a creator wanted to texture for this body and make a tattoo, that tattoo would be a system layer, and they could add that onto the skin they're already wearing with the body, and then they can remove it, and then they remove the tattoo. So it's the same technology. It's just in this particular case, I'm wearing a transparent belly system layer so you can see the fetus. It took a,
Beautiful. And
yeah.
I mean, the baby looks so realistic. I know that you're telling us that you have to work on the texture of the baby itself, but I mean, like, this is amazing, Carrie. Like, honestly, I've never seen this done before. But I want to go back a step. Is there a pregnancy system added, sort of like the Mama Alpha or Dublin? I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, or any other HUD where, a couple can, get intimate and then hopefully find out whether or not they're pregnant, or this is strictly the body once you are pregnant using a different HUD?
Oh no. So this will come with, so first of all, the body will come with a regular HUD like it will with any body. So the body, you have your regular basic HUD, which allows you to change your feet and change your skin and change your nails. But in addition to that, we will also include a pregnancy HUD. And the pregnancy HUD will be like comparable to the existing kinds of pregnancy HUDs out there, where you can have a partner or multiple partners, and we'll have code that says, okay, you have, this particular person now is the father of this baby, and he can also wear a HUD. So that will be included with the body as well. A pregnancy system that allows you to um, basically, not only watch your baby grow, but experience this with a partner.
Okay, so we'll have something similar to the Mama Alpha HUD, which helps you get pregnant. Like, can you set the percentage or the chance that you get pregnant, whether it's 10%, 20%, 60, or 100% when you actually engage in the act of sexual intercourse? And is there a chance of miscarriage, or how realistic is this HUD?
Right. So we haven't worked out all the details because, to be honest, I had to spend a lot of months just figuring out how to make sure the transparent belly and fetus worked, and the body worked. But as real as you can go. So yes, you can decide if you don't want to get pregnant, which means you can go on the pill. You can decide if you want to, if you do get pregnant and then you don't want the baby anymore. You can decide not to continue with the pregnancy, but you won't necessarily, nothing gross will happen. Like, it will stop the animation from continuing. You can decide to try to get pregnant, and there will be like a chance of greater chance or less than chance, depending on how happy you are, or I mean, we're really in the process. That's the next phase of development. So I don't exactly know, but it's going to be an experience that is definitely includes a lot of role play, and is definitely comparable to the existing systems out there. Not exactly, but definitely with that in mind.
Sounds like a little bit more advanced, to be honest with you. Okay, and so now it gets to, and for all my ladies out there, it gets to the intense part. What happens at birth?
Yeah, well, let me say one thing too. Again, like the pregnancy HUD has not been built yet, so there may be things I say that may not necessarily 100% happen, but that's our goal, is to get that to be as realistic as possible. So, okay, so you do actually give birth to the baby, like for real. Like, you basically run an animation when it's time, the HUD will say your baby is due, it's time to give birth, and then you will be offered an animation to play. So you can decide if you want to give birth at home, if you want to give birth in a car, or if you want to give birth at a clinic. And you literally do run an animation where the baby comes out of you and you see that happen. And then what happens is we have a back end already built with our current system. And so once you give birth to that baby, you'll literally be sent a newborn Animesh that you can hold and breastfeed and nurture and take care of. So yeah, it's going to be like things like you've never seen before. Like this is very new territory, and there's been a lot of testing with it. But we have the bones set in place at this point. So we had to put bones, to be explicit, in the vagina so it can open and literally have a baby come out. And we had to move bones in the belly area so the belly can grow too. So those were intentionally put there to have both those things happen.
Oh my God, I am so excited because not only have I been pregnant in SL with one of my past avatars, but I've also had one of your babies, the Zooby Animesh baby. So this seems like just a process that's like really thought out and executed from conception to literally birth. Now, once you have your newborn baby, how does that fit into the Animesh babies that you're currently selling that grows from a baby to a toddler? How do the two work together?
So currently they don't work together. Right now, we sort of built this in a way backwards. We started with just making a baby because again, Animesh had never really been experimented with before, and especially an Animesh baby had never been done before. So what my goal was initially was, well, can we actually build an Animesh baby with a carrying system? Is that something that is doable here? So that was the first goal before trying to dive into a whole pregnancy newborn thing. So that was a product in and of itself. Like the baby out there right now is you buy a baby from a vendor and then you get a baby, and then you can care for that baby. And we're actually right now in the process of building a leveling system so that baby will learn how to talk and learn how to walk. But it's essentially a separate product from the newborn. um, they're not combined right now. And one of the reasons for that is also there's a limitation on Animesh. One thing that Animesh cannot do is it can't grow so in scale. So you can't use a slider on an Animesh. So right now you can actually make your avatar grow in scale, but you can't do that with an Animesh. So we couldn't right now. Maybe in the future we'll be able to have the newborn literally grow in scale to be a toddler because the technology just isn't there yet. But
Mm.
maybe down the road, we may be able to combine these two into one product, but right now we just can't because it's just not possible. So essentially what you do is you get pregnant and you get a newborn, and that is one newborn baby. And then if you want the toddler, that's a completely separate product that you would buy separately.
I mean, it's still amazing. I think those last year, I think I saw everyone with the Animesh baby that grew from a baby into a toddler. So I know this your same consumer will definitely probably buy this pregnancy body. So one thing we discussed offline was you'd kind of like for creators to kind of jump on and start making skins for this, maybe with some stretch marks, or I'm adding that in stretch marks, guys. I'm adding salt and pepper, but some realism, stretch marks or like little markings on the breast to show that a woman's body is changing. Are your developer kits ready yet, or when will they be ready?
So the cool thing is that I basically have everything done to get a developer kit out there. We have something called one thing that's really important for texture artists out there. This body was done with the SLUV map, which is really great because that means you can take any skin that you already did if you're a texture artist and you made a skin for any other body out there, and all you have to do is just slightly tweak it a little bit and it will fit perfectly on this body. So that's one really cool thing. So those, I mean, that it's pretty much done, and I can get the skin texture kit out next week. Now the other thing we did is for people who want to model clothing and rig clothing, we actually created two actually 3 bodysuits, one with legs, one as a dress, and one as a t-shirt. So, and that will allow people to essentially make clothing for this. In addition to that, we also have a couple of YouTube videos that show how to rig clothing specific for this belly, because the belly is a little bit different than just a flat belly. So you have the weights are slightly different, but it's all done. The videos are done, the bodysuits are done, because right now our team is actually making clothing for this body, and I actually finished a set of 12 skins. So yeah, I just have to get it out and available online for people to download. So it's just a matter of me like packaging it up and putting it out there. But all the assets are actually ready to go for people to start creating for this. And also shoes too. We're going to have 4 different kinds of feet. So you can have high-heeled shoes or flats. That's another thing people can create for this. So it's everything's kind of ready. The whole system's ready for third-party creators who want to start with this. I'm really excited about it. I think that it has a lot of potential.
Agree with you. So if I'm a up and coming SL creator and I say, listen, I think this is my lane, this is where I can really make my mark in SL and stand out from the crowd, how can I get this developer kit?
I'll make an announcement maybe in a week, and I'll put it out there in my Zooby Baby groups to people, and I will give people a note card or a link and let them download that. I may also make a YouTube video to explain to people how to get it. So yeah, I mean, I think if you are someone who wants to hop on and you've got time and you understand how to use Marvelous Designer and Substance Painter or Blender, and you want to make clothing, maternity clothing or sexy baby mama clothing or anything, this is a great opportunity because this body is new, and uh, the more clothing that are, people want endless clothing. So absolutely, if I were, I can't focus my time on making. We will have clothing. Zooby will offer clothing, but I'm not going to spend the next 3 years making clothing. So there's definitely opportunities for up and coming artists to come in, or existing artists to come in and take and make clothing for this. Absolutely.
I totally agree. There's a lot of potential here. So you've heard it here first on my channel. Please, if you think that you can create amazing skins, amazing clothes, be on the lookout for the developer kit, which is coming out shortly. So I want to go back to so there are people in your group who are going to say, what about the legacy users? And what about the Animesh Baby, even though that's slightly new, but like, let's say more for the legacy users. And they say, Carrie, don't leave us out. What are you doing for us? Will there be updates? What do you have to say to your consumers there?
Sure. So when I started the Animesh Baby about 2 years ago, developing it. And when we did that, over a year ago, we actually stopped selling the legacy baby, but we kept for over a year, we kept all the accessories, all the toys, all the consumables for over a year because we didn't want to stop supporting it. And so this next phase, what we're going to do is we're going to continue to allow people who already have a legacy baby in May. We're going to still allow them to get consumables and toys and stage toys, but we're not going to be updating the legacy baby, and we're not going to be selling a ton of stuff for it, because simply as a business, we have to move on. But we don't want to leave those people in the dark. We don't want their babies to stop working. So we're still going to pay for servers that keep that baby running, which is actually a different server than our Animesh Baby's on, because we want people who already invested time and money into that product to be able to still use it. So we're not going to completely remove everything, but we also as a business have to think forward and move on. And that was why we actually developed the Animesh Baby, so we can be ahead of things and have products that are more consistent with current technology.
I totally get that. You see, guys, we've gone from system default obvious to obviously Bento at this point, and now we have Animesh companions where it's dogs and things like that. And your business, as a business owner, and I could see how you'd make this business decision because your business would just die otherwise if you don't evolve and adapt to the technology and
Yeah,
times.
I mean the Sculpt Baby was great for the time, but once Bento came out for the Avatar, our Sculpt Babies looked a little bit dated. They just did. Like if you put an Animesh Baby next to a Sculpt Baby, there's definite differences. And so, you know, the goal was, well, we don't want to, you know, leave our users in the dark or just leave them hanging when they invest all this time and money into this legacy baby, but at the same time we do have to move forward. And so that's kind of why we still have supporting products for it, but we really are putting our focus moving forward on new current technologies and Animesh specific.
And that makes complete sense to me. So we're going to work a little bit backwards. So guys, right now we are at Pal Park, and this is where you can bring your Animesh baby or even Legacy baby to hang out and have some family time. I hung out here for a couple hours, and I just watched all the moms and families with their babies, and it was the most adorable thing. So Carrie, I need you to tell me, how did this whole thing get started? Like, how long have you been on SL, and at what point did you decide, you know what, I'm not going to just chat and hang out on various platforms. I'm going to start an SL business.
Oh, that's a funny story. First of all, I'm really an old user here. I want to say one thing too. This body, this pregnancy body, it's not going to be ready for several months. Our focus right now today is there's like two lanes going on. One, we're developing a leveling system for our current Animesh baby. And at the same time, we're developing this body. So if people are like, when's this body ready? It's not going to be ready for several months. But what will be ready very soon is a leveling system for the current baby, which means the current Animesh baby will learn how to talk and eventually learn how to walk. So I just wanted to throw that out there. All right. So how did this all
before
happen?
we
Yeah.
before we move forward, so I saw Eden in the store, and that's the
Yeah.
baby, guys. In my last video, that was kind of, I cycled through the poses. So Eden stands, and now Eden will be walking and talking, correct?
No, no, those stands are a mannequin. So what we did with the Animesh Baby was we built an affiliate system to allow texture artists to texture clothing for it. And we built a universal HUD that allowed anyone to buy a texture immediately without having to go into a store for the clothing system. But the problem was that it was hard for individual affiliates to let their customers know what clothing they made. So we made mannequins, and the mannequins are the standing poses. So which is not leveling. So what we're going to do initially when we launch leveling for the Animesh Baby is we're basically, the Animesh Baby is going to learn to talk. And then eventually after that's out, the next phase of leveling will be walking. But initially, like I'm hoping this month we're going to have the talking available, and then over the next few months we'll release more leveling features, which would be walking and playing with more toys and things like that. So
And so next month, maybe talking, and maybe in the next 2 months, walking. And then when will the body be released?
right, so I'm hoping, first of all, this month I'm hoping walking, and then hopefully next month, I'm sorry, this month, let me get that clear. This month I'm hoping talking. In April I'm hoping, unless like it's really a big system we're building, fingers crossed, I think talking's going to be this month, and then next month, or within the next 2 months, walking. I think, again, don't hold me to uh, those timelines, but definitely the leveling system is very close for talking. All right, so the body itself, I'm not quite sure. The reason is that it's not just the body that we're building. We're also building an Animesh newborn. So that's a whole product in and of itself, because we don't want to release a pregnant body unless the user can actually have an Animesh newborn that's sent to them. So I'm not sure. I'm not sure if it's going to be end of summer or early fall. I don't know. It's not going to be a whole year. I know that because we've already spent about a good solid 7 months on this. And so I don't think it's gonna be under a year. But I'm hoping 6 months. I'm not sure exactly. I can't say. It's hard to say exactly. Sometimes you get caught up in developing something and you've got to redo it 50 times to get it right. And I know people are very particular about their body, and how they want to look. So we want to make sure that it's done right, instead of just trying to get it out really fast.
So at at minimum, guys, it's going to be before the end of the year. Okay, so that's all you really need to know. But as far as your Animesh babies, the focus is on that and making sure you get your leveling up HUDs, and that's going to be fun for you guys as well because I see how much you enjoy the babies. Literally 500 people viewed just for the giveaway and told me how much they want to be a mom on SL and enjoy this product. So, going back to my original question,
Yes,
you're
yes.
an oldie but a goodie on
Yeah.
SL. How long have you been on SL? And tell us about your transition from user to creator.
Yeah, so I've been here a long time. I want to say, like, I think that if you're creative and you're willing to put the time in to learn new technology, which are essentially almost free. Blender's free. Substance Painter and Marvelous Designer are very cheap monthly for subscriptions. If you have the time and you're creative and you want to learn these tools, you can learn them without going to school. You can learn them online. So let me just say that. So even though I started this at a time where those tools were not as advanced as they are now, that same sort of drive to learn something new or dive into something still exists today, and there's tools available that are amazing and endless tutorials online for people. There's so many opportunities to be creative and make things. So for me, I started, oh my gosh, 13 years ago. I worked in advertising in Chicago for an ad agency. I have a background in fine art and design. I do not have a background in computer software programming or computer science or software development, just mostly in design and art. I also don't have a background in 3D modeling or animation. I literally taught myself Cinema 4D on my own. So years ago, I was working at an ad agency, and then I became pregnant in real life, and I quit my job, and I had decided to stay home just for 1 year. And I um, didn't have much money. My husband and I moved in with my mother, and I had a baby there. And the goal was I would be at home with my real life baby for 1 year before I had to go back to work. And we would just save money, and then we'd move out of my mother's house. And so during that time, um, after I had my baby, I was really kind of bored, to be honest. I knew I didn't want to go back to advertising, but I didn't necessarily enjoy being a mom full time. I needed some kind of creative outlet. And this was a while ago when my mother still had the Chicago Tribune newspaper. This was before Facebook. I mean, this was before social media. This was a while ago. And I literally read an article in a real newspaper about Second Life in like 2006. And maybe that was 14 years ago, about people creating content in virtual worlds. And I became really interested in it because I just thought it was just kind of a cool thing. It just sparked my interest. And so when my real life baby was asleep, I joined Second Life, and I just kind of played around, and I ended up buying a cat from somebody. And I remember I had also a cat then and who had passed away, but at that time I had a different cat. And I remember walking around with my avatar holding this cat, and this was also before mesh, before when the bodies were very prim looking. But I remember I felt this connection to this pet that I would walk around with, and I always wore it when I logged into Second Life. And so I again, when my baby was asleep, I would go in and play this virtual game. And then um, I thought at one point, I think I can make a cat as good as this cat I bought. And so I didn't know anything about making anything. I just understood design and art and kind of things I would like to buy. And so I ended up making a cat that kind of looked like the real life cat I had. And again, out of simple prims, I didn't know 3D software. I didn't really know anything. I just thought this would be a creative outlet. And then what happened was I had people who I would wear then my cat instead of somebody else's cat. And I had random people come up to me asking me where I got that cat. And I said, well, I made the cat. And they said, well, can I buy it from you? And so randomly I would sell the cat to people as I walked around. And then I thought, wow, I think I really should open a pet shop, because I think that I could make other pets. I think I could make a dog or a snake or a monkey or something just by putting these simple prims together. And so that's what I did. And I remember at the time it was $300 US dollars to buy land. And my husband's like, you want to spend $300 on virtual land? And I'm like, yeah, I mean, and so I said, I'm just going to do this. And I ended up within a year replacing my advertising salary and starting a business. So I didn't go in thinking, oh, I'm going to, make a bunch of money. I started just with this curiosity and creativity and an outlet. And it grew into something much, much bigger because it came out of a place where I just really enjoyed making things. And so eventually he's currently my ex-husband, but at the time, he also has a background in art and design. And within 2 years, he ended up quitting his job. He was also in advertising. And he helped me run this business. And he ended up designing a lot of the animals, and eventually these sculpted babies. And so, yeah, it grew into something over time. And yeah, it's pretty crazy. I didn't anticipate this happening, but I just kind of went with it because I really, really enjoyed it. And I still do, even now, like I still do. I still get excited about things. I still love seeing the creativity of what people can make and how well they make them and how much time they put into that, what they can create. And so I still, even to this day, I still love it after this many years of making things. So yeah, it's pretty crazy. So I
Carrie,
never had to go back to my job.
that's amazing because I think that's the SL dream, right? And so you've given us a lot to unpack. There's so much that you've told us. So this kind of happened by accident, just based on curiosity and wanting to create a pet for yourself. And this eventually became a two income
Yes.
household business.
Yeah.
So tell me this. So is SL your main bread and butter right now?
Yes. And it's been that way for 13 years. Yeah. I've been living off of Second Life income and yeah, for 13 years. Yeah.
Okay, that's amazing. Is your ex-husband still in SL and does he still work in SL or has he branched off and gone back to the quote unquote real world?
So well, so Second Life didn't always, so Second Life has had an interesting history. At one point, I wasn't so sure about the future of Second Life. And there was a period of time where our business was not doing as well. And we had left SL for a while and decided to make mobile games for Apple. And those didn't work out very well. And after that, I still checked in SL and still took care of customers, but we weren't developing new products. So we were focusing on these mobile games. And that was around 2016, 2017, right when Bento kind of came out. And then those mobile games didn't do very well. And Second Life was still supporting us. It, again, was making less money because there weren't as many users, but it was still generating some money. And so then I came back into Second Life. He had at that point moved on and did not go back to Second Life. And I came back and I started reading about or hearing about new potential with this Animesh technology coming out. So after the mobile games didn't do well, I decided to take whatever money was still coming in and invest it into an Animesh Baby. So I've pretty much taken over running the business since I started it on the Animesh. And it's not just me. I have a team of people that work for me. So yeah, I mean, my ex-husband is definitely an integral part for years, but stepped away right around when Animesh came out and was not part of that.
So, as a new SL user and maybe someone who has dollar signs in my eyes,
Right.
and I'm creative as well, and I have what it takes, like I'm disciplined and I will learn the programs. How long will it take to build a successful a business in SL? What are your thoughts on that?
So I don't think that anyone should come in here with the intention to make money. I think that's the wrong mindset. I think that if you do that, you're going to be disappointed because there's a lot of things that happen. I come into this world when there weren't a bunch of users and there wasn't amazing content. Um, Again, simple prims. I came here very early on, and I have to say that like our experience with making mobile games, we made beautiful mobile games, but we came into the mobile market about 7 years too late, and so there were already games out there that were pretty amazing, and we were competing against um, a lot of people who had already been making mobile games for years. So I think it's actually a bit harder to start a business now. So timing does have a part to do with being successful. It just does. It's harder to do it, but that doesn't make it impossible. But it doesn't guarantee success. I think that you should come, if someone's interested in doing this, they do something that they really enjoy doing. And then they think about, well, what would other people enjoy doing and what is currently selling? And can I offer something that isn't being offered right now? And if you can do that, if you can come in and not just make something that's beautiful, but what is something that you can do that maybe someone hasn't done? So let me give you an example of what I mean by that. So right now, like, let's say that I saw something really interesting that not maybe like a year ago, and I thought, wow, this is cool. For a long time, people would sell makeup or they would sell little purses and things like that. But then someone came along and they made this little animation where the avatar takes lipstick and they put the lipstick on their face and then the lips change to a different color. Suddenly now that's a product that is, even though lipsticks were already made and lip colors were already made, suddenly that person who made that offered an experience of putting the lipstick on. And that hadn't been done before. And so I think if you come in and you think about what can I offer that hasn't been done yet, that people would like, that's a better, and that also has my creativity. What can I do? And I think if you come in with that kind of mindset, you have a better chance of success than just sort of making another shirt, because there are a gazillion of them out there already. So I think,
Yeah, that makes
yeah.
total sense. You don't want to just lose yourself in what's already been done. So, what if someone says, well, Carrie, you have a fine arts degree, so you kind of had an idea about design and certain technicalities or mechanics that might have helped you with Animesh and your babies or your animals even before then. And I know that you didn't have any experience with Blender, but what is my learning curve going to be like since I have none of that stuff?
So I believe this, always do what you're good at. So for example, even with tools like Cinema 4D or Blender, I probably will never be an animator because I don't think I'd be very good at that. I don't enjoy it, and it's just not something. So I can learn that tool or skill set, but I don't think I'd be really great at it. I know I would be a better 3D modeler and texture artist because that's just an area where I naturally have an affinity for. So if you you're interested in learning software, think about where your skill sets are and what you naturally sort of gravitate to. Maybe it's maybe you play music and you can offer concerts, or maybe you know how to put things together as a designer and you can offer your services in designing people's spaces. Like, it doesn't necessarily have to be, well, I'm going to make pants. Just think about what do you enjoy and what do you feel that you are talented at, and then develop that skill set. And people are different. Like, it takes a team of people. There's no way I could have made this baby on my own. I did not animate the baby. In fact, even some of the textures, I feel like there are texture artists out there that made textures that were amazing, better than mine, and I wanted them to. So like, what I try to do with myself is I know what areas I'm strong and I know the areas I'm weak. And the areas where I'm not as good, I find other people to collaborate with. And I think that's important too. So if you maybe can't afford to hire someone, team up with somebody. Like, find someone who has some skill sets that maybe are strong in areas you're not, and then you collaborate and work together and build a product together. So You don't necessarily have to pay someone to do something for you. See if you can actually find people just to work together and collaboratively. That's free, like, and so that's my whole thing, how I kind of do this. I kind of know what areas I'm strong and areas I'm weak, and I find people who can fill areas where I'm not that great. Like, I'm not a developer, I'm not an animator, but I have a strong sensibility for art and design and project management, apparently.
Project management seems very important.
Yeah.
And so, guys, Rick from Alan Torrey basically said the same thing. He was like, listen, it's just common sense, right? Am I a scripter? No, I'm not a scripter, but I need a HUD, which gives me colors for my hair. And Carrie's reiterating that same thought. Like, you have to find out, you have to build a team. It's very important. So, Carrie, how much time does it take to become proficient enough to
Oh
sell a
god.
quality item?
I got to tell you this. I never actually even learned Blender. I'm actually learning Blender now because I spent so much time learning Cinema 4D, and it's taking me endless hours. Anything you do in your life that you want to do well is going to take your life. It's going to take hours and hours and hours and hours of your time if you want to succeed at it, and if you want to, make beautiful things. Even I mean, if you think about it, I just got these 2 kittens and I want to put them on Instagram. I don't care if they're Instagram stars, but I want them to have their own Instagram account. It takes me time to get just the right photo of them looking just cute enough. Like, anything you do that you're interested in is going to take time. And I generally don't make excuses. I put the time in, I put the work in, I put the hours in because it's important to me. And that's actually a key factor. Like, I don't make excuses like, well, this is too hard. Well, this sucks. This is boring. I mean, it is. It's sometimes hard, and it sometimes sucks, and it's sometimes really, really boring listening to endless tutorials. But for me personally, it's important to make something that hasn't been made, or, because what the end result of when it's done is so gratifying that I think it's worth it. But there's a grind to it, and there's just, it can be tedious, and it can be like, oh, like, am I ever going to get through this? But if you just keep going, but I would say it takes time. Nothing happens in a day. Learning the software is not easy. It takes time. But if you really want to succeed, and you want to do well, and you want something to people to buy, then you put the, and, you just try, and just put the time in and try. And there's so many people. There's a community of people out there. I called a friend of mine. I'm like, how do you rotate this thing in Blender, or do this thing? Why, like, this one particular tool does it differently in Cinema 4D than does it in Blender. And so he hopped online really quick. He's like, oh, you just do da, 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 and that's how you do it. And so the nice thing about it is that there's a gazillion people out there that can give you advice, that already know these things and know these tools. So yeah, but whatever you're doing, and it's
Seems like a lot. So, how much time a day are you spending on learning new skills and working on developing new products?
minimum I put, well, oh my gosh, I put 60 hours a week when I was more than that when I was working on the baby. At this point, I mean, I also have real life children that but they're older now. But I, I probably, I definitely put 40 hours a week. I don't put less than that. Like, that's my minimum. I often put more than that because I'll work weekends or I'll work nights. So I put a lot of time. But also, it's important to step away and to have some real life time too. And so I, like, again, during the product development of getting the Animesh out, I put crazy hours in. But then once it launched, I eased up a little bit, and actually relaxed a little bit. But yeah, I mean, even now, I work a full day. And if I don't work that many hours that day, I make it up the next day or on a weekend day. So yeah, I put in a lot of effort and a lot of time, um, doing this. Definitely not under 40. I would say closer to 50 or plus. But again,
Self discipline is important. It's a major key here.
yeah.
You have to be disciplined because you don't have a boss saying, where is this? did you meet this deadline? You're your own boss and you have to meet your own deadlines and you have to create goals for yourself and actually achieve them by putting in time on a daily basis. So, Carrie, I have a son, he's 4 years old, and I know just to record videos, and I don't have a huge YouTube channel, it's challenging because I work 8 hours a day. It's a very mentally draining job, a lot of analysis involved. In addition to that, I take care of my son, so that's a secondary job. And now it's like midnight and I'm filming this video
Right.
because I love this. Like it's a passion project for me and I enjoy it. How do you do this with a child? Like especially not having the structure of working 9 to 5 and things like that.
It's tough. You have when I did this when I had a baby. I was a full-time mom when I started, and I started with, again, $300, and that was it. I didn't have people to pay to do stuff for me. I didn't have an island. I basically started when the baby was asleep, and I would work then, and then I did it when, he went to bed at night, I would work then. Eventually, then I would, when someone else would watch the baby, I would then work then. So I sort of just, whenever I could, I put in time where, it became a priority in my life, because I just enjoyed this and wanted the business to grow. Fortunately for me, I was able to hire someone after about within the first year, a few hours a day, not the full day. I couldn't afford a full-time nanny, but a few hours that gave me a few hours extra time to put in to help grow this. But I think, again, if you want to do something, you find time to do it. Like, for example, last week, I found myself watching Netflix. And I'm like, I really got to learn Blender. Why am I watching? And so I just decided I got to stop this. I'm going to stop watching Netflix. I'm going to go in the room and I'm going to learn the software because I need to learn it. And so you just have to be disciplined and tell yourself. And I mean, again, I have a family, I have kids, I have things I have to take care of. I have to make dinners. I've got other stuff to do, but for me, this is a big part of my life, and I want it to continue. So I make sure it's a priority. It is tough though when you have two other jobs, or but hopefully, what happens is that as things, if you can make something that is successful, you're able to then invest more time in it because it helps pay for itself over time. There's no guarantee of that, but that's what the hope is.
But I think you'll learn skills along the way that'll help you in the future no matter what. That's just my take on it.
Oh yeah. I mean, like, for example, I took a risk building this Animesh baby. It took 2 years of my life. I didn't know the technology. Everything in Second Life had changed. And so there was no guarantee that that Animesh baby was going to make up the money I spent in developing the product. There was no like magic wand that was going to say this is going to be a success. I could have lost a lot. But I was willing to take that risk and do it and put the time in and risk whatever I needed to risk to do it because I felt so strongly about the product. Um, you have to take chances too and believe in yourself and believe that what you're doing is worth it and that it's good stuff. And know what good stuff is. Be aware, look at what other people are doing and look at what other businesses do well and why they do well and what kind of things they're making and the quality of what things they're making. Even with YouTube, I mean, why are certain YouTubers, why do they have so many subscribers? What kind of content are they providing for their audiences? How often do they upload their content? And so with any business, I think you have to be on top of it and know sort of, you know, what can you offer that is unique and special to your customers.
Yes. And so now we're going to get into you can't be all work and no play because I noticed that you have an SL partner. So I'm going to get a little nosy here. And my question is, do you spend a lot of time with your SL partner? And is this a person that you're in love with? Or is it like Rick who says, this is my best friend and the person I bounce a lot of ideas off of, and that's why this person's my partner in SL?
I feel like I'm going to totally disappoint you with my answer. I'm so
There's
confused.
you haven't so far. Like I've learned a lot from you actually.
All right. So my answer is that SL partner is currently my ex-husband. He's when he joined, he was JS Greenwood. That's my ex-husband, and I never deleted his account because he obviously was part of this business for years, and currently still part of it. So we're divorced, but we're amicable, and he still has an account. So I don't really get out and socialize much. I spend time working with a team of people, and I test a lot. But I don't really socialize in Second Life. And I should do that, but again, with time, like my priorities are, I have to learn the software. I have to figure out how this works. And then also I definitely talk to the community though. I ask the community, what do they want? What would they like me to make? What are they interested in? And so what's wonderful is with these groups and with YouTube and with Facebook or whatever, there's an immediate answer. Can we have this? Can we have this? Can we have this? So the customers tell you what they want. But yeah, socially, I don't really go out that much, but I do like to see beautiful things what people make. So I will pop in sometimes to certain areas where people have modeled some things that are just beautiful or created experiences that are just amazing. I will do that sometimes. But yeah, I don't have a boyfriend here. I'm single right now, single mom with 2 cats at this point, and really just focusing on getting this business back on track.
Okay.
So
Yeah. I mean, yeah. So you're like really just a workaholic here in SL.
yeah, the only thing is I do try to make time for my real life family and real life kids. Like that I make time for. But yeah, I mean, in order to have any creator, I think, would say this: if you're going to have a successful business in Second Life, you're going to be working it pretty hard. Like that, it's going to be a lot of hours, whatever business it is. So yeah, I mean, a lot of my time is spent working here, and then my off time is spent with my kids or making food or whatever. But yeah, I do yoga. I do that. I find myself sitting in front of screens a lot, and so I go running, and I take care of myself physically. So otherwise I do get out and exercise and go out in the sunlight and do stuff like that. I go kayaking every summer. So I do outside activities sometimes just because I feel like I'm so like in staring at screens so often. I need like real air, like that I do.
Sunlight, vitamin D, and to be re-energized.
Yes,
Yeah, I feel
yeah,
you.
that I definitely do.
So would you consider, this is my last question
Sure.
because I know I've kept you for so long and we've just squeezed all the gems and knowledge from you. I think a lot of creators or wannabe creators they're learning a lot. And I think if they felt they were putting effort in, they just realized they need to step it up a lot because that's the vibe that I'm getting, that a lot of people are going to feel like, oh, I thought I was working on this 2 hours a day and that was enough. And it may not be enough. So just so that you guys know, so if you're binge watching the Ozarks, I raise my hand slowly. Like it may not be enough. And if you're wondering why you're not accomplishing your goals. All right. So are you an introvert or extrovert? And would you say that contributes to your success?
I think I'm a little bit of both. I'm definitely not like the life of the party, but I'm not totally an introvert either. Like I've got friends, I go out, I socialize. I'm not. I definitely have a community of people I spend time with. So, but I don't like. I'm sort of in the middle. I'm not definitely 100% introvert or 100% extrovert. But I like having real friends and real family and things like that. I've met virtually some people that I've just become really close to. Like the woman who built this park is amazing. She's an amazing human being, and I've never met her in real life, but we're very, very good friends. I talk to her often. She gives me feedback on what people want and the products people want, and she's just offers so much insight into the community here. And I've never met her in real life, but I think she's just this incredible person. So I think that for me, I've built relationships, very close relationships over time. A handful of people in Second Life, and then probably a handful of people in real life. But yeah, I would say maybe a little bit of both. I'm not afraid. Like I have a YouTube video of me talking with the camera on my real self. I'm not afraid to show who I really am. But at the same time, I'm not out partying all the time either. It's kind of a little bit of both.
Balance. That's what it
So
sounds like. So, guys, I'm going to give you some of the giveaway information. Again, if you're not aware, Carrie has generously donated one Animesh baby worth 5,000 lindens. If you want to join, please subscribe to my channel, like, and leave your in-world SL username below. And also, you have to be a part of Carrie's group because you want to be notified when the new pregnancy avatar comes out. Carrie, how much would that avatar be? Do you know off the top of your head or still in the works?
I don't know yet, but I do want to say this. So when you first buy the avatar, the Zooby Baby Momma, you get one Animesh newborn with it for free. So it comes with one pregnancy cycle for free with the avatar. So that's one thing. So you get one pregnancy cycle, you get the avatar. But if you want to get pregnant again, you do not have to buy another avatar. So I know for certain. So if you want to get pregnant again or have multiple pregnancies, there is a fee for that, but it's not as much as buying a whole new avatar. So that's sort of, I'm not quite sure of the price yet because I have to think about that. Another thing we may do, and I'm not sure yet, we may end up also selling the Animesh newborn separately in case people want the newborn, but they don't want to necessarily get pregnant. So that may be an option as well.
I do have a question. Yeah, so if it's a budgeting thing, I'm restarting now. If it's a budgeting thing and maybe people can't afford the body, but they can afford the baby, that'll work too. But my question is, if you're not pregnant, because when you weren't pregnant, you were in stage one or like the first month of your pregnancy, your body looks like any other normal avatar body. So people can wear this whether they're pregnant or not, correct?
Oh yeah, they totally can. That's the goal of this. That the goal of the body is you can wear it when you're not pregnant and you will not look pregnant. Or at any point in time, you can keep the same body and then get pregnant and it will morph, the animation will morph your body to be pregnant. And then you can get clothing that shows you not pregnant, and that clothing will stretch and grow with you during the duration of your pregnancy. And then when you're not pregnant again, the same outfit will go right back to not being pregnant. So yeah, I mean, the body is supposed to be basically flexible enough to not be pregnant, because you're not going to be pregnant. It's not just a body to get just to be pregnant. It's a body to get to have all the time and then to be pregnant and then not be pregnant and then maybe be pregnant again and then not be pregnant or never be pregnant. Maybe, that's what the goal of what was this. Could we make a body that allows you to not be pregnant, but also, if that makes sense? Yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
so
there you are.
it just sounds like you're trying to simulate real life. So if you happen to have a sexual encounter or risky sex and you get pregnant by accident, then you have a baby and you go through the process with your body. Or if you get married and you plan this pregnancy, it's the same thing. So it's extremely realistic. It's going to add a lot to role play. It's going to be completely immersive. And if you guys are a little thotty and maybe you had two relationships going on, you'll have to figure out who your child's father is. So what's the name of this body?
Again, it's going to be called the Zooby Baby Momma.
Ooh, spicy. I love it. All right, Carrie, do you want to leave us with any last thoughts?
Yeah, I want to say this. Even though I started this business without no, remember I started this business without knowing much of anything. I also kind of basically had to restart the business with Animesh. So I firmly believe if you really want to do something and you're willing to put the time in and you have talent, you can do it and you can make money at it. I I think that it's not, don't think just because someone else made something that you can't make something too. You absolutely can. Just because there's a gazillion YouTube videos out there doesn't mean you can't make content that people are going to watch. You can. Like, I still believe that to this day. I think that like new music is still, even though there's music all over the world, every day people make new music and it's fresh and it's new and it's amazing. And so there's always opportunities. I'm definitely an optimist to make something and to be creative and to put beautiful things in the world. I think don't ever give up on that. Like, I definitely 100% believe that, and to make money at it. Like, I think that too. I'm certainly not the most gifted or the most talented or the most whatever in the world. I'm not. I just believe in things and really try really hard to make them happen and find groups of people who help make them happen. So I think that's important to have that kind of mindset and believe in yourself and believe in the possibilities of creating new things.
And I are definitely on the same page there because I totally believe if you just put yourself out there and you just try and not just half-ass try, like you really put the effort in, it will yield some results and some modicum of success. I totally believe that. So thank you so much for being an SL entrepreneur. Thank you for introducing us to your new revolutionary product because I definitely think it's revolutionary. This is going to be so exciting. And I think people are going to be buzzing about this across the grid. I had no idea this existed. My subby told me about this. I don't even know how she knew about this because it's so far out from actual launch.
Yeah,
Have
it's
you
really
told
far
anyone?
out.
Yeah, have
What
you told anyone?
Yeah, I mean, I have a Facebook group, and I was really excited that we were. I had an idea for it, but to be honest with you, I didn't quite know if we could accomplish it, and neither did my animator. We're like, we're gonna try this. I'm not sure if we can pull it off. Like, for example, I didn't know if making a transparent belly would cause like weird alpha clipping if I had. Sometimes if you have an alpha on top of alpha, I didn't know if we could solve certain problems. Like I wasn't 100% sure. I didn't know how bakes on mesh worked. So what happened was once we, oh my God, the cat just got in the headphones. Once we actually figured something out, I posted photos on Facebook showing what could be done because I was excited that we solved a problem that I really didn't know for sure if we could. But the fact that we solved it was really exciting. So I started posting photos on Facebook showing, hey, we can actually do this, guys. This was sort of this idea, but it's coming to fruition and we solve these problems. And so for me, it was really exciting. And I wanted to show people like, this is cool stuff. Look what we can do. Look what these opportunities are for people to make things. And with new technologies like Bakes on Mesh and Animesh, it just, finally, I'm really glad SL is getting to the point where these avatars can look just as good as in any other video game.
Well, thank you so much for having a sit down with me.
Sure.
You guys have asked and Carrie has answered. So thanks a lot. And thank you for being so generous. And guys, I forgot to tell you about the giveaway. I am also going to donate 1,000 Linden to this giveaway to help you guys out. Whoever wants this baby to get started, with the diapers and the bottles and the soap and everything that you need so you can take really good care of your new bundle of joy.
Yep. Yeah, just let me know who the winner is and I'll send them. I'll make sure they have a baby.
Okay, will do. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please like, subscribe, and share on your SL Instagram or Facebook or Discords, whatever. Thank you guys for watching. Mwah. Say bye, Carrie.
Bye. Thank you, everyone. Have a great night.
Bye.
And self-isolate. Bye.